Okay, this is the website you'll need, although I find it easier just to Google Benjamin Gilman, and then it goes right there. IIE, I don't know, that was meant to be a frog. It's a scholarship that is for Pell Grant recipients only. It has various aspects to it. We'll get more into this once our speaker gets here. I'm going to take a little break, but I'm just going to introduce it. So write down the website. This will be your best friend for the next month. There's also a scholarship that they do called the Boren Scholarship, B-O-R-E-N. Now the Boren Scholarship is great big amounts of money, and it can be up to $20,000. I wasn't kidding about the great big. We've never received one. None of our students have ever received one, and I think it's only because we've only had 2 people apply. IIE is a branch of the government. It's kind of a national security branch, but it's educationally related national security, which to me is kind of an oxymoron. But when you see their explanation about what they do, it makes a lot of sense. So last year, for example, the person who applied was going to Japan. Very strong GPA, which is important. By very strong, I don't mean 4.0. I mean above about a 3.2. She was a little blown out of the water by this application. And frankly, it was my first go around with it, so I wasn't as much help to her as it would be for you all, because I do learn more through her. But one of the goals of it is to find out how your excursion abroad will help national security. Exactly. My face exactly. Like, well, I'm not planning on bombing anybody. I'm not planning to have a diplomatic mission anywhere. I'm not going to go to the embassy and work. So really, what am I doing that's diplomatically helpful? Well, she was an artist. Her ability to communicate and raise awareness between 2 cultures was huge because of her art. When you think about what art and peace have in common, you can actually come up with a pretty reasonable explanation. You know, it's a little artsy-fartsy to those of us who are really scientifically motivated. But in fact, art and peace and communication and cultures coming together are wonderful. And it's a great, she wrote a wonderful essay about it that kind of touched me actually, because it really did make me believe, God, there's hope in the world. Because it's people like her who, through art, would be able to communicate in a way that politicians never will. And so, you know, the person walking past her monumental art, seen American and Chinese beautiful characters shaking hands, I'm making that up, but something like that, would be really nice. And it says a lot without having to have the same language. So don't think of national security as wars versus non-wars. Think of it as people to people. And when you do that, you might come up with a whole other explanation of why your excursion abroad, and I use that term lightly, but I don't want to make it too heavy, might actually fit into the Boren Scholarship criteria. Please look into it. That's too much money to walk away from. The Gilman Scholarship is wonderful. It's worth, we had one student get just $1,000, but she was going for a semester to Canada. And so $1,000 was more than we expected her to get. But the reason she got it is because she's Ethiopian. Her family members are straight from Ethiopia, or parents were first generation. And for her, it was a real change in culture. We'll talk more about the criteria. But the most we've ever received is $8,000. And that person got it, or those 3 people got it, because they were studying critical need languages. Critical need languages are the language you would think of, and some that I frankly had never heard of. Turkish is one, we've all heard of that. Chinese, Japanese, those are both considered critical need. Korean is critical need. Spanish is not critical need. French, German, Russian is critical need. Spanish, French, German are not critical need. Russian is what?
Swahili.
Swahili. Do you have the what? Yeah. Can you click on? Yeah, actually, some of the more unusual languages are critical need. Arabic is critical need. So anybody applying to Israel, Hebrew is not considered a critical need, but I think that's more a political decision than a practical decision. And you might be able to make a case for it, but Arabic definitely is critical need. So if you think about it, it's just the more unusual languages in the world. They need people to speak to the Kazakhstani and Kazakh. You want to have some people on the ground who can actually interact with the cultures. And and I'm sure that doesn't surprise anybody. Whether we're gonna all go out and study it is a whole different issue. Those of you who are going to Korea, applying for Korea, that is a place where we've got one critical needs scholarship, and so a guy named Michael Glines got it 3 years ago now, got $8,000, and that was a nice chunk of change. To get that $8,000, the more typical amount is $5,000, and that $5,000 is, it can be 4 or 5 for the whole year. They give $2,500 per semester is the idea. So if you're going for one semester, the max is supposed to be $2,500. But really what they do is weigh it in how you rank in the selection process and how good your essays and such are. So it can be anywhere, it's a real range. But that's how you should frame it in your head, $25 per semester, $2,500 per semester. Takes the application itself and the essays probably take 10 hours total. So do the math. Say you get $5,000, how much do you get? How much are you being paid per hour?
5.
Who said that? You did. Yes. Is it worth $500 an hour to you? It is not to you? I want to know what you're doing in life to get that much money. I will never earn $500 an hour, no matter where I work. This is your chance to get $500 an hour. Now, the way to prepare yourself for this is to come to this kind of meeting so that you don't have to sit around and, have it go around your head and like, what do I do? What do I do? Let's figure that out here so that you know how to fill this application out. Now, we're going to have a guest speaker come before me, and he's going to talk about study abroad. And I know it's kind of, you guys are already the audience that are planning to go abroad, so it might seem a little redundant to you. But he's from Switzerland. He's from the Applied Sciences of Northwestern Switzerland. We just started to have a bilateral relationship with them, so we're going to send students there, they're going to send students here. And I found him to put a framework together of why study abroad extraordinarily well. He spoke to 3 classes yesterday, he's spoken to 2 today. He does a presentation that he's not going to do in its totality here. But if I were you, I would take notes on some of the language he uses, because he puts it into perspective and verbal context that makes writing your essay really, really easy. If every one of you came out with the exact same essay, it wouldn't matter. I wouldn't recommend it, and to get there would be cheating. But what I'm saying is if you take sentences directly off of what he says and put it in your essay, that's just fine. What you're trying to create is a solid argument for why you, as an individual, should go study abroad. And this guy, again, does that. His name is Robert Buttery. Anybody with a last name Buttery, you gotta love, because, anyway, from Switzerland, no less. As a present, they all give us really great presents. My job is great because I'm constantly getting presents. And the present I got from them, I got a really nice pen, and then I also got some chocolate. Well, sadly, instead of being gracious about both, I said, chocolate! And my husband ate it all before I did, though. But they have a lot of things in Switzerland. But he talks about the most amazing thing in Switzerland is education. And again, I'm going to let him speak for himself, but I'm a little worried about where they are. If he doesn't make it, we'll just move on. This, like I said, is the website. You go to iie.org, or just type into Google Boren Scholarship to get Boren qualifications. Definitely consider applying. If you have close to a 4.0, which I know a lot of you do, several of you do anyway, please apply. Let's have you all just go around the room and say your year that you are right now, not next year, where you plan to go, and for how long. And if you don't know, that's fine too. Can you start in the back?
I'm Kizell Jones. I'm a junior and I plan for Japan for a year.
Great. Do you know where in Japan?
Nagoya.
Nagoya.
Matthew, freshman, Korea for a year.
Hi, I'm Mireya. I'm a freshman. I want to go to Ireland for a year.
I'm Spencer, I'm a freshman and I want to go to Taiwan for a year.
Here, let me back up for a second and ask you to add your majors.
HCOM.
HCOM.
Computer science.
Liberal studies.
Social and behavioral science.
I'm sorry, I was a friend visiting.
Okay,
Yeah.
you're welcome. Good college, this is open to all college students.
I'm Samantha. I'm a sophomore. I want to go to Spain for a year, and
my name is Lupe. I'm a tech major and I'm planning on studying abroad at Puerto Rico and Rio de Janeiro.
Okay, that one's not gonna qualify for Gilman Scholarship because it's not overseas.
So,
If you're gonna go anywhere other than Puerto Rico, great, because you still have an open line about it, right?
yeah.
Yeah, Puerto Rico is a territory of the US, so it's not considered overseas. Yeah. So look at the possibilities of Central, South America, Central America, and we'll go from there. And Spain if you go also.
Hi, my name is Tina. I have a Japanese major. I'm a second year, and I'm planning to go to bioengineering.
Hi, my name is Brittany. I'm a junior, environmental science, and planning to go to South Africa.
Hi, my name is Lupita Hernandez. I'm planning to go to Spain for a year. I'm a major in psychology. My name is Bethany. I'm my second year in the Japanese major.
Do you know where yet? Shia.
I'm Melanie, I'm second year and H1 major, and I'm going to Gokura University in Japan.
You're a minor Japanese, right? I mean, a Japanese minor, sorry.
My name's Eddie. I'm a tap major. I want to go to Florence, Italy for a year. And yeah.
I'm Dalvin, Tokyo, Japanese major, and I'm currently planning for the year.
Hi, my name is Richard Sweet. I'm a third year. My major is Japanese, and I'll be going to OBD University.
I'm Alexander Castillo. I'm a Japanese major, a junior, and I'm going to go to University.
Great. They're introducing themselves and with the place they hope to go next year.
My name is Steven. I'm a top manager, third year transfer. I'm trying to go to Madrid, Spain for a year.
First major, second year, Japanese major, my bonus, you go. My name is Matt Rashid. I'm a second year with a computer science major. And I'm going to Tokyo University.
You're a Japanese minor?
I'm Josh, second year Japanese major, and okay.
My name is Samia Allen. I'm a second year, H1 major, Japanese minor, and I plan on going to Shiga, Japan for the summer. I'm Karen Gordon, a Japanese major, second year, and I plan on going to Shiga.
My name is Stephanie. I'm a Japanese major. I'm a third year, and I'm planning on going to Shiga, Japan for a year.
And my name is Mary. I'm a third year. I'm planning to go to Nagoya for another Japanese major.
Good. And in the back.
I'm Chad. I'm a hospitality major and I'm a transfer student from NPCs. My second
Can you talk louder? We can barely hear you.
Chad. I'm a transfer student from NPC. Hospitality management major. Yeah, looking to go to Switzerland.
Hi, I'm Ayana. I'm a tap major. I plan to go to High-End Spain next year for a year.
Hello, my name is Adriana Sarato. I'm a CD major. I'm a senior here, and I'm just looking for what I can do over the summer.
What's the CD major?
Communication design.
Ah, that one. CST? Actually, it's on major now.
Yeah, they changed it.
ITCD?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay, good. Oh, great. James here. Okay. I saw a question. Oh, yes, Stephanie.
My name is Stephanie, and I'm a first year, and I'm planning to go to France. Oh, and I'm a communication design major.
Okay. So we have a wide variety right here. Go ahead, Gus. Yes.
Two things. My name's Gus Leonard, and I'm really excited because I studied in Sweden and Iceland when I was an undergraduate, and it's pretty cool to hear all the places
Yay.
you went.
Hi. Hi. Good morning. Okay, Robert. This is Robert Buttery. I already introduced you. And I said all sorts of good things, right, guys? Yes. Okay. And this is Celia. And Celia, if you could come this direction, I need you to actually write your last name down for our office. Apparently they don't have the correct spelling. They put it down like Smith. Can you tell them your last name and let them guess where you're from?
Goicoechea, and I'm sure none of you know where my surnames come from.
Who wants to take a guess? Goicoechea?
Not cheating, Stephanie.
Anyone?
I've got the sculptures.
Oh. Anybody who didn't know already before you walked in?
Greenland.
Ooh, that's an interesting guess.
That would be.
Seems reasonable to me, actually. Okay, go ahead.
Ever heard of the Basque Country? Anyone know what the Basque Country is?
What was it? It's
Okay. Where? In the Basque Country.
It's in northern Spain and southern France.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to have them talk a little bit about studying abroad, and I've told them to take notes on what you've had to say, because part of what they do for the Gilman Scholarship is talk about what the value is of studying abroad. And I thought you have said it better than anybody I've ever met.
Thank you so
What do you
much,
mean?
Holly. How much time do we have? I always have this question, because I've spoken with some of you already, you know I talk quite a lot. Holly, excuse me, how much time do I have?
About 15 minutes.
15
and
minutes.
It's 10 to 15.
Do we have the memory sticks, Holly, or do I have it right?
Yeah.
Can we just,
Yeah.
I just need the slide with the second one on there with the why leave our comfort zone. Thank you for giving me the time to speak with you this morning. I've met some of you already. I came in slightly late. Yes, I am British, as you can hear. I get nervous if I'm late, but okay, we're here. I just need a quick brain check to see how many of that are who are actually going and the plans are done. Can you show?
Well,
Yeah, your plans are kind of done.
what's done?
If you've interviewed, your plans are done.
Okay, so who is yet to decide? Okay, can you put your hands up?
Really obvious.
Okay, good. So I've still got students I can attract to Switzerland. Well, actually, of course, I have to market for my own university, but as an international educator, I do want all students, wherever they are on the globe, to take this chance and take the experience. That really is something which is important for you as students, for your academic studies, or for your professional studies, and also for your personal development. It's great. So, a couple of things about study abroad, which I will mention. I think, Holly, you've introduced who I am. The alien, have you introduced
I did not
me?
mention the alien.
Okay, I'm the alien wherever I go, because I always live in a country which is not my own. I go back to England, they say, "Oh, where are you from?" It's Agile English. I've lived in Switzerland for some time. My job is making sure that our staff, faculty and students are mobile, because I explained to some of you already, this we consider extremely important to make sure that we have a global savvy, a globally aware student, and that students and staff and faculty can function. Why? Because we're mirroring what is going on in business. That's how business is. It's not just our own little bubble in Central California or in Switzerland. We have to do business around the world, and it's important that you are prepared to do that. And it's absolutely wonderful. Can we all do this? Well done. All do it? Well done. You've taken the step, you've checked out, and that's a big deal. It really is. Because now you're on your way. It doesn't matter wherever you go. You've actually made that decision, you go. And now I think it's very important is to check out if you already made that decision where you're going. Start doing your homework. Check out where you're going, find a bit of background. What's the place about? What's the culture, history. You can do quite a lot before you go. Again, all the information we have, the more we have, the better. That's one thing. And two, people are always shocked, surprised, in awe when you go. You can tell them something about their country. They think, this is an interest. It also is an icebreaker. The moment you can talk about something, then you're set. And that's, again, you look at communication, networking. That's a very important factor there. Where are we going to get information from? I mean, you're students, yes. We'll have to be very careful about where we get information from. You're getting it from me, of course, and Holly, but we're old and wrinklies, yes?
Excuse me.
Excuse me, I'll take that back, Holly. I'm an old and wrinkly, yes? I mean, how could I possibly know where to party and where all the good things are going? But actually, I probably don't. I get to learn from students. But also other things, what are interesting for your age group, that you can get where? Internet. Go on forums, go on websites. What we also have to do is take things with a pinch of salt. We do not believe everything we hear. We take it into account because we're also going to have our own experience. I think a lot of it is, when we're looking at study abroad, it is going with an open mind. Things are going to be different. They should be. If not, we wouldn't go. Why bother? Things are going to be challenging. It is not like Southern California going to France. I heard France here, I heard Spain, Jaén, Stephanie, France, who's going to Jaén? Ayana? I almost got Ayana, yes, my memory's not too bad for my age, is it? So do check that out. Don't believe everything you hear. Go on, also when we're looking at information in general, not just for personal information, Facebooking, we should be working in academic way, looking at where sources coming from. You can get a lot from government sources, both US federal government have a lot of interesting background information about countries. Check that out, check the country site, check a bit about the university you're going to or the academic institution. Again, it's much easier when you arrive, because when you arrive and think, oh my God, where am I? Yes? If we already have a bit of background information, it makes it easier. Doesn't make it easy, it makes it easier. Now, you've already taken the step again, but it's still always clear to make sure what our goal is and why we are doing something. We don't want to get sidetracked from our overall goal, which is developing our knowledge and skills. You are making an investment. It may be that your government is making an investment. Maybe that your parents are making an investment. It may mean the banks are helping you to make an investment. What do we want? We want a return on that. It has to make sense. It has to mean that you're going to bring something back with you and you can use, and you can say, look, to an employer, I've done a semester abroad in Switzerland, and go and sell it. As I've spoken to some of you already, Switzerland is, if not the first, the second or third highest performing country economically around the world. And that says something. It also says something that you've had a quality education at a quality institution. Employers will look at it, but moreover, they will look that you have stepped outside a box. And that's important. You're all going to be managers. It's not all one size fits all when you're speaking and deal with people. Managers have to deal with lots of different people. When you're working in international environments, then the dynamic gets even more exciting. Yes, it's different cultures, people from different backgrounds. You have to figure that out as a manager. It's not my job as a manager sorry, your name is? Josh, wait, come on. It's my job to encourage, get a potential from my team. That's what I have to do, and Celia is going to say, no, you don't do that. In my own team, international office team, actually, I'm not Swiss. Well, Celia is originally from Spain. I live in Switzerland. We've got a colleague who's from Brazil. We're international. My job as their head is to maximize their potential, because we're all working on the same thing, trying to get something forward. And that doesn't matter whether you're working in the international area, it's management, which many of you are all doing business studies. So put that into a perspective, this knowledge and skill. Employability, again, a lot of it is not just what you know, it's who you know, sell that skill, sell it. You have to go in hard market. You have classes in that, I know, how you do job application marketing. When you come back from your study abroad, speak to your international advisors. How can you maximize, get your return on your investment? The experience of new cultures and environments, I mean, I can say a lot of cliches, but it is actually amazing. Yeah, it's so exciting to wake up every day. Something is new, something different is going to happen. Yeah, not the same routine every day, and that's what you experience from study abroad. Something you will see, but we have to keep our eyes open to see new things. You should be learning where you go about language, culture. It's also important, I think, when we're looking at different cultures, that we're not going to copy, but we can understand some things we can take on our own personal rucksack. Now, okay, this is good, I'm going to do this. Language. Learning a language is not easy. I can say that myself. Someone coming from an island, which is English speaking, yes, and think no one else speaks another language, it's difficult. But I also know if you work hard that you will get somewhere. It takes time, it takes patience, but go for it. Again, this is going on to my next point with networking. If you can, you don't have to be fluent in a language to be able to be respectful, to say hello to someone, to engage. The more you do it, the more you learn. And this, as soon as you encounter someone and address them in their own language, it's immediate an icebreaker. And it's just a couple of words. That will help you step towards developing your language skills. In the case of our university, if you come and study with us for a semester, our programs which you study on will be in English. However, At the same time throughout the semester, you have crash courses in German to make sure that you can engage with our local population and our students. Most of our local population speak English, but their first language is Swiss German. So this again is this element which is important to have in our skill set. I spoke to you again, some of you, about the networking importance. We're business students. We work in a global world of these links. We have to network. You're doing this now. Many of your colleagues that you're studying with, you will maintain links with far beyond your university years. That's going to be important both personally and for business use. You can think, right, I know Josh. Yeah, I got you. I also got Stephanie over there. I haven't forgotten. And Ayana over there, yes. Got you all. So I perhaps will be in California in 5 years, and Ayana has become the CFO, CIO, CIA of some company. And I'm going to contact Ayana and say, hi, how are you doing? Sure, I remember that crazy guy 5 years ago. And we start talking about business. Maybe that I can help her or she can help me. That's how the cookie crumbles. That's business world, how people are communicating. Now, this is putting an exponential to your international network when you study abroad. You meet people, in our case, if you come to Switzerland, you'll meet Swiss students. You will also meet students from all over the world. Now, many of those students you will maintain a contact with for the rest of your life. Maybe someone in Sweden, Switzerland, Australia, wherever. Those contacts will remain, both privately and professionally. And again, when you come into management positions, you can start using that network. It's not using, yes, it's all take, it is giving back also. It works always two ways. Yeah? You can help people. You can also help promote US commerce and industry around the world by showing the positive side, how to promote in that way. So that's a very, very big payoff. And networking is something you have to maintain. It's not, oh, I know Josh now, he's going to remember me for the next of my life. I'll be tracking him. Great, you all have social media. You have Facebook, but also LinkedIn, the professional side. I can keep an eye on what Josh is doing. Yes, not stalking, but just keeping a professional interest. And once and again, I'll say, Josh, yes, how you doing? How's it going? I've got on my LinkedIn over 1,000 people, and I make sure I'm going to go through. I take that as part of my working time to maintain that relationship. I will go through and see, oh, Josh, you've got a new job, congratulations, hope you're fine. It's just a signal, but it's there. Josh will then see, this is not just a person on my networking list, this is a person who is interested, this is a person who I can do business with. But that is work you have to do. And again, like everything else, we can be systematic, we can go through. Point. From a US network or California network, you have already extended to international network. Do go on your institution's Facebooks. We have to be careful with Facebook often, but okay. But do go on there. Celia and our other colleague Gabriella in our university have a Facebook for students. They go on, get information from where you're going. You get information from the international office, but also check out what students have to say. Important, because then you can make an overall picture. And you've obviously done that already, but keep researching. Make sure that those goals are very clear. Again, you've made the step, now make sure we get the maximum profit from it. Okay, I'm going to sit because I don't have that much time, I believe. I think it's much more important for you now to give you the opportunity to ask questions. Any question you wish about studying abroad, this is our area of expertise. Celia is also very happy and very pleased to answer your questions, either from studying in Switzerland where we are based, or studying abroad in general. I know some of you are going to other countries. Use the opportunity now to bleed as sponges for information. That's what we're here for. So we're now going to put our radio ears on, and yes, actually, I do expect students to work, not just to listen. I talk a lot, but also then I expect it to come back. So, I know you may have some questions. I'm sure you have. Please, I'm afraid that you have some. I've got one there. Your name is?
David.
David.
Some of us might have financial aid. I have a question. For those of us, because I don't live on campus, I live at Alden Salinas. Would we have to say we were applying for housing because we might be staying in a dorm in the
country about it.
Okay, David, I can only answer in respect of my own institution. Your dorm would be part of the whole budgeting that you'd have to do, as in your expenses for clothing, living. So you'd have to check with your international office here. They will be able to advise you on those financial means. Normally, the bottom line is you get a pot of money, and then you have to plan how you're going to spend that money. Okay. You have to check, David and everyone, what the costs are. Thelia, I think we have a breakdown, but we have our costs. We have it on there. You can put it. You have to check what all the ballpark costs are, and then do your budgeting. That's a part of the learning experience. It's not that we want to give you everything in a plate, because Josh will never learn. We want you to be able to do that. Again, that's what you have to do in business. But always remember, you have the advice and the assistance there. So it is, again, looking what costs are, budgeting. Now, we've done this for our own university, and it's probably very similar in most European universities. We give you an idea of how much rent costs. This would be for student accommodation, single room in a residence. These are, again, ballpark figures. We've gone through and how much would a student spend. We come up with 1,200 to 1,500. Again, their average cost. You can live much better than you need much more money, but that's not why most students are going. It's the whole experience. So it gives you an idea. What you need to do is budget. It's financial planning like in every single area. The information is available. I would also recommend students on study abroad, don't under budget, because of course you go places, you want to do things. If you come to Switzerland, you're not going to stay, I hope you're not just going to stay on our university and all you do is study. No, part of the experience is travelling also in the region. Switzerland sits in the middle of Europe. You're in everywhere with a cheap, low-cost airline in an hour. You can work out your finances. Again, you can do all this before check with our students. If I want travel information, I don't go to a travel agent, I go to a student. Why? Because they've gone through, they've checked all the websites, what's the cheapest offer, where can I do? So that does need to be included. I would expect that also for students going to Japan. If it's possible, you should be looking at South Korea, China. It's just a hop away. It's much cheaper to do that when you're there and you have the time and opportunity than you come back and think, I wish I did that. You never have the opportunity again. You just don't know how life pans out. So again, I would recommend you to think of that in your budgeting. Okay? Maybe if we are having financial difficulties, okay, we may have to put off the trip to a bit later, but it is worth spending that extra because that investment is there. It will really come back. David, does that answer your question a little? Thank you. If you say no, well, I can't give you information. Ask it. Any other questions? Sorry, your name is?
Chad.
Chad. Sorry, Chad. We can't hear Chad because it's always, you forget, professors, we are hard of hearing, and these things make a racket. So people sit at the back. Chad.
Same kind of question. I know she's mentioned something about you guys helping to get jobs out there, and you're allowed to work 15 hours a week or something.
Okay.
How's the pay, right? Like, is it?
Okay. First of all, I would recommend students going on study abroad to try to avoid having to work. That is putting you under a massive stress. One thing to get a job, and two to do your studies, and two just to experience. It is possible. I'll let Celia give you a bit of information, but I would advise everyone here, get your finances done here before you do it. That's my personal opinion. Because again, it has implications. If you work, we want you to study, we want to experience. I know most students in the US, as many of our students, they are already working part-time to finance their studies. If we can compensate that here before we go abroad or after that is probably better. Sally, would you like to add a few words on
I can't remember exactly what I said yesterday, but I mean, our students, same as many of you, do work to have some kind of part-time job, but when they go abroad, and when you go abroad, your everyday day life, the stuff that you have to deal with is absolutely different. Okay, you usually have to deal, even if you're studying English, you have to to deal with a new language outside of university, you have to deal with a new education system, with new friends, if you want to engage in, it's all starting kind of like over. Here you have already your student clubs, your job, your accommodation, but when you go abroad, it's a little bit like starting from scratch, and that takes quite a lot of energy and quite a lot of effort. And you want to build your network, like Robert said, get to know the international students, all the students from the country, in our case Swiss students. So you have the possibility to work, as far as I know, even though Switzerland, as you may know, is not part of the European Union, you're allowed to work 15 hours a week as a student. So you come to us, if you come to our university or to any university in Switzerland, you are enrolled as a full-time student, and then you can work up to 15 hours a week during the semester, and you can work full-time during school holidays. Now, what you were asking for, how much do you actually earn an hour? I guess you were thinking if you're working as a student, that depends a lot. Usually students are making, for regular student jobs, around 20-25 francs an hour, which is
$25 an hour.
Wow.
But it's, hold on a minute, it sounds good, but everything is swings and roundabouts. It depends, our costs are slightly different. You may have social costs to pay. So again, always think, what can I get with my buck and what do I have to do? But I think, again, I can't emphasize enough that you should seriously consider it, whether you want to do that, because it does take a bit out of your study abroad experience.
It is definitely necessary to think about your finances and to plan in advance before you go. If you then, when you're abroad, we get this kind of request every semester when we have new incoming exchange students, and they ask me, okay, do you know about any jobs or any websites where I can look for jobs? And I always know of students who in the end go, they do a couple of hours of babysitting, or they teach their mother tongue language or whatever, and they do that for a couple of hours. So like, if you go for, especially girls, but also boys, if you go for, a night of babysitting and you're with a couple of kids for 4 hours, you can earn $100 US dollars or 100 francs in a night. You can also teach English. Everyone wants to improve their English or to do language exchange or whatever. You can also do that. But that's, that's to help with you if you are planning, for a weekend in Paris, or if you want to, buy lots of books or do, little things around your semester. That's good for that, but it's not good to pay for your rent or to pay for your, grocery shopping or whatever. That you should actually plan for.
So do you help us find those jobs, or is it up to us to go ahead and
You don't have a job placement.
No, that would be
No,
up to the
you.
students, and
Yeah.
also remember, Chad, you would be in direct competition with Swiss students if they're doing such jobs, and that's market.
Our recommendation to you is that you don't plan on working.
Right.
If a job falls into your lap and something you want to do, great. But there are so many regulations around it. I was an au pair when I was in Spain. Do you know what an au pair is? Nanny, governess, goddess of the universe. Didn't happen. For the first semester, and I tell you, by the end of it, those children were more of a pain than they were. I thought it was going to be a wonderful way to get to know a family in Spain, and it was for about 2 months. And then I had to keep going, and then there was finals. And then all my friends were leaving to travel for the weekends, and I couldn't. And so it became an impediment to my really becoming part of the culture. It was worth it for a while, and then I needed to walk away after about 6 months that it lasted. And I love that type of thing. So it's not that it wasn't a job I wouldn't have enjoyed, it just took away too much. It's an opportunity cost gone.
I was an au pair for the summer, and then for the summer it was great, But when you're studying, if you have to deal with that apart from your studies and everything else that you do at school, that can become a little bit too much, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you both very much for coming. I know we're keeping you from your lunch.
Okay, thank you very much for attention on behalf of Sarah and myself. If you have any specific questions about Switzerland, our programs, please contact Holly in the International Office, can give you advice there. She also has our emails if you have any specific questions. We will help you. Certainly would like to see you in Switzerland, but also we want to see you do your study abroad. That's the most important to you. So go for it. Congratulations, you made the first step. Now you have to make that happen. You again It's something where you really will not regret it. It's going to be a very important experience. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Bye-bye, have a nice, Lauren's gonna meet you. Lauren will meet you out front in my blue minivan, take you to the lunch.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Okay, so let's talk about how you get there. It's money. This is a good place to start. The Pell Grant is something, if you all are going on an exchange, or you're going on a bilateral program, the CSU International Program or an exchange program, and you will, if you receive financial aid now, and you're going on a bilateral program, which means an exchange program, or the CSU program, all the financial aid that you would get while you're here will go with you, except for work study. Do any of you get work study? I don't know anybody who's ever gotten work study. Okay, so no problem. So if you get $16,000 a year now, if your finances haven't changed, and if the government doesn't change their qualifications, you'll probably get $16,000 next year. Very few programs cost $16,000. A couple do. Taiwan costs less. And Puerto Rico costs a lot less. But they don't count on it if you're going to one of the other countries. 20,000, 22,000. That's not much money if you divide that by the months. I mean, it's only, let's say it's $5,000 more. That's but $500 per month. Well, you've got to get it, of course. And this is one way to do it. You have to qualify for the Pell Grant to even apply. You have to be a U.S. citizen to apply. You have to be never have studied abroad before to apply. How many of you have been abroad to study? How many of you have been abroad, period? When you went, did you go somewhere for more than 2 weeks? Raise your hand. Yeah, okay. How long were you there?
Month.
Where were you?
Germany?
Were you studying?
No, my grandma's from there.
Make it clear in your essay. Do not check the box that says I've studied abroad before, because it goes in the circular file at that point. So how long were you somewhere?
I was in 3 weeks in Toronto and a month in Barcelona.
Okay, so you were touring. That's
Sorry,
great.
yeah.
Okay, what about you?
I was for a month and a half in Cairo.
Oh, this visit, right? Good.
Mexico, like a month.
Good. Studying?
No.
Good. Anybody else?
Yeah, 3 weeks in Japan. Not really there to study, just to kind of have the experience.
Okay, make sure it's not really it's definitely you have not studied abroad or you won't get one of these suckers, and you're a good candidate. Okay, so you want to make sure you clearly put on it, you have not studied abroad before. So there's a box in here that asks you, have you studied abroad before? No, you haven't. Make that clear. You need to be going overseas. The only place that's not overseas is the United States or its territories. Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, Guam. So if you're going there, it doesn't count. It's considered going to one of the states. But if you're going to Canada, which none of you are you? It does count to go to Canada. Oh, you also can't be studying somewhere that they have a travel warning on. So for example, Mexico, we can't send anybody to study abroad in Mexico right now because there's a travel warning on. It's too dangerous for American students to go, they say. The State Department says. So you will not get money if you're going to Mexico. Israel. Anybody going to Israel? Several people are applying. They don't qualify for this anymore because there's a travel warning on Israel, which is really amazing, but there's other scholarships for Israel. Japan, no travel warnings, but they had a travel warning on it for a short time after the earthquake, and 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. And if that happens, they don't pull your money. Like in the middle of the year, it starts being on the travel warning, they don't pull your money, they just say go home. And we said that anyway, CSU did, so everybody can go anyway. So it was not a happy thing, but Gilman did not say, okay, now give us back your money. But if you come back home on your own, you do get back the money. So make sure you're either staying or you plan to get back the money. Don't overspend the money. You're going to have to pay it back. You cannot go to Cuba, and you cannot go to a couple countries in Africa. I don't think we have anybody applying for that. So the deadline is, who knows? March 5th. I jumped the gun. So you need to make sure that you turn everything in by 11:59 on the 5th of March. That seems like a long time away, doesn't it? It's not. It happens right away. The hard part is you have to upload your transcripts, which means you have to get official transcripts. Some of you through the CSU program, if you've already turned your official transcripts into me, we might still have those in our office. We were supposed to send them down to CSU IP, but we try to make that mistake and send the copies down. Because we're just like that, ornery. So if you check with us to see if we still have your official transcripts. If we don't, you're gonna need to reorder them. And if you're going to Japan or one of the other programs where you haven't turned in your official transcripts, then you will need to order them. If you went to MPC, or if you went to a community college at your home, you have to re-request those transcripts. You have to get all of your transcripts and upload them and send them. And this will be the world's biggest headache, and Eddie can tell you all about that. Anybody else have concerns about your transcripts? Do you understand what's expected? Okay. They will want to have, I and our financial advisor, who is Ashley McCullen, will need to approve your application. And we do so by pushing little buttons. I mean, it's not complicated. And don't worry, we will do it on time. If we don't, we owe you $5,000. Okay, I won't speak for Ashley, but I'm pretty sure she's very good about this. You won't know whether you got the scholarship until late May. That's really tough for those going to Chile. I don't think he's here, but we have a couple applicants who are leaving in July, and it makes it much more challenging to plan. If you need to have a backup plan, if you don't get this, what are you going to get? So if you're not going to get this money, what's your plan? I really hate to see people counting on this money, because a lot of you will get it, but a lot of you won't. So I can't guarantee you that you're going to get it all. Now you have until June to accept or decline it. You would decline it because you're not going. You wouldn't decline it if you're going, please. Yeah, we're happy to have other people accept it. Now, if you get a rejection letter, 22 of our students got it last year, and 10 of them were rejected. Of those 10, 5 got it in the end because people turned it down. And so as the space was made available, 5 more of ours got it. And all 5 of those are going to Japan. That was a happy day. So let's think about the process. So I'm going to take you right to the applicant. These are just basic questions. I don't think any of this is too much conflict. Now, the question they're going to ask you is, in fact, let's get to that application. Has anybody started their application? Anybody want to put it up here publicly? Anyway, okay, come on up. Because it's really a lot easier, and you can finish yours while you're here. Well, maybe not finish. But it's a lot easier to walk through an actual one. If you don't know which program you're going to, say you haven't been accepted, none of, the Japanese, you guys have gone accepted, pretty much. Yes, you have, okay?
Yes.
Yay, congratulations, you're going, woo! Okay. And for those of you on IP, you won't know until after this deadline, by days, but you will not know in time. I will, but I'm not telling you. Just kidding. I do take bribes too. I'm kidding. I was on camera. I do not take bribes. We know that it's going to be a little tense during that period because you're going to be putting all this effort in this application, and then you won't know if you're getting in. I can give you a pretty good estimate whether you're going to get in or not. I can't give you exact estimates, but I can certainly give you my opinion. And I think I'm pretty clear about that in the interviews anyway. It doesn't mean, if I say, not so sure, go for it. Because if that program doesn't work out, you can change your program. You can have another backup plan. So say, for example, you're applying to go to Japan, and for some reason Shiga pulls out. It didn't happen, it's not going to happen, don't worry. But let's just use that as an insane, crazy possibility. It's not one. But you would go somewhere else, right? We put you in another place. So it's not something that stops you from functioning and going forward. If anybody you're sitting here right now not knowing where you're going, for example, Chad, if you don't know where you're going yet, go ahead as if you do know. They need to see that you plan to study abroad in this particular environment. You don't want to say, well, I might be going to Germany and I might be going to the moon because I really don't care where I go, I just want to go. No. They want to see you have a definitive plan. It doesn't have to be in stone yet, but it does have to be a passion. If you put it down there without a passion, they're going to say, well, why you? Let's go for the actual application. Oh, you know what? Yeah, go for the actual application if you would. Okay, that's how you start. How easy is that? You start with it says click here. And he's continuing his. So stop here if you would. You're going to create your own username and your email. And this part's easy. You can do that part better than I can. You get down, yeah, you want to make sure that you fill in every single thing. If you don't consider yourself a Mr. Ms. or whatever, just for this purpose do. Go to the next one. Yeah. So you gotta decide. Now fall, see how it's fall and AY? That's all of you. If you're only applying for the spring semester, don't do this yet, because your deadline is not till October. But if you're planning summer, fall, or the academic year, this is the application for you. So you click here, for current cycle. Have you done this yet?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay, click or go on to the next one, I guess. Yeah, eligibility. Oh, we did that. Yeah, we've already done that. Okay, so eligibility, go for it. You're all good. Can you do applicant info? Oh, we did that. I'm sorry. Institution. Oh, do the institution info. Okay. Now this one gets a little bit weird because they ask if you're concurrently enrolled. Now, if you're taking a class in MPC, that doesn't count. Your enrollment is at CSUMB. If you have, this is a drop down, right? In the 4.0. So this will tell you, you're all at GPA 4.0 level. So go back. It says, what is your institute evaluated by? Well, it's evaluated on a 3.0 scale. Okay, so what is your cumulative GPA, your major GPA? They care frankly more about your major GPA than they do about cumulative. Scroll down. If you don't have if you haven't taken any major courses, don't put 0 if you can avoid it. Try to put NA or skip it. It sometimes doesn't allow you to do that, and you will have to put 0. Graduation date, if you don't know, I don't care. And get the basic year. If you don't know if it's the 27th or the 22nd, it doesn't matter. It's May of the year you expect to graduate. And just pick a date towards the end. And you want to get, most of you are getting Bachelor of Arts. Is anybody Bachelor of Science yet? Yeah, okay. Yeah, a couple of you are the computers. Okay, gone down. Okay, this is just to me. No one cares. Going down. Okay, you're going to put my name in there, and you're going to put Defense Financial Aid Advisor. Actually, you're going to probably put Ashley McCullen in there.
okay.
ASHLIE.
Or that selection right there.
Right, for example, we could put this one. She's the one you want to put in there. Because she is the Gilman Scholarship Advisor.
Okay.
And then for down here, there I am. There I was. I'm gone. Okay, so the next, yeah.
So if we're taking a class at NPC, does the grade that we get there, does it like come into this GPA?
Yeah, it does, but you won't have it yet, so it won't count yet. But eventually it will. I know, bummer, huh? If you took it last semester, it should be blended into this GPA.
If we're taking it this semester, it's gonna be a minute?
Yeah, it's gonna be separate. That's okay.
Oh.
If you're on the border, you can always, at the end, if you get denied, turn in a new application and say, by the way, I paid my GPA. Okay, so this is how you upload the transcripts. Please don't come to me and say, I don't know how to upload the transcripts, because I'm old. You guys are young. It says right here how to do it. We're done. Okay. Okay, does that make sense? Keep going down, will you? Okay, degree reports, progress reports, copy of pasted documents. These are actually, you're going to see what it is as you read through here. Has anybody gone and read through here yet? It's quite easy to figure out. Look around the room, and if you're not technologically able, we do have people in my office who can help, but some of these people in this room, they will be your best helpers. Become a buddy with someone you don't know. Scroll down. Please, sorry. That makes sense. Again, you're only going to do Monterey Bay, not NPC. Transcripts, those are really easy to do. What happens every single semester is somebody waits till March 1st to do it and says, I can't believe those people didn't send me the transcripts. Request them today or check in my office.
So we're requesting a hard copy and then like scanning it in and uploading a JPEG or whatever?
And if you need any technology to help that, we can help scan and things like that.
And then is there going to be a section for if we went to a JC or if we went to schools?
All the transcripts are requested here. Yeah. What you have to do is substantiate your GPA. Okay, now let's go down. Can you still, without doing this, you can go to the next one, right? Yeah.
No, I'm just wondering, where's the section for, like, because it just says currently enrolled institutions.
Right.
So where is it going to be that you could just upload for?
Upload your transcript, image your transcript, put it all on here. Yeah, and they'll see that you have more than one. There's a lot of transfer students who do this. Can we get to the application part itself, or do you have to finish this before you can do that?
Oh no, like the main part of the application so far I've noticed is this part. Essay.
Yeah, statement of purpose. Let's do this. Okay. Now this part, it tells you very clearly how long it's supposed to be. You are limited to 7,000 characters. When I was doing this selection, but 2 years in a row, for this, for Gilman Scholarship, about 10% of the people, essays, would stop mid-sentence. I believe I'm a great cat. And really, it's like, can you not read instructions? You want that $5,000, I get a little testy when I'm reading 500 of these things. And you want to follow directions. Number 1 point, follow the directions, which means read the directions. Okay? Here it is. You make it a page and a half, about 7,000 characters. You want to make sure you don't get timed out on it. You won't lose it, but still, you don't want to get timed out sitting there. You do not format things bold and italics, and even paragraphs don't work. It's like the IP application. You can make it all fancy and it's going to put it in there, just one big paragraph. I would still put in paragraphs because it bugs me not to. But don't do, it's going to force it into a paragraph. So don't spend your time doing italics or anything else. Let's see. Essay, okay. I'm going to go back to that in a minute. Now, they do have a composite of successful essays, but I'm going to tell you that right now. We're going to spend 15 minutes on that, and that's the most important point. Scroll down a little bit. No, yeah. Statement of purpose essay. What they want you to do is describe, well, here it is, 6 questions. Make sure you hit all 6. If you want to make each one of those questions a paragraph just to help your own organization, that's fine. But what you don't want to do is, 1, here's my answer. 2, here's my answer. 3. You want to evolve it so that it's easy to read. They're reading 600 of these suckers at a time. I got a box this big, and I said, read it by Thursday. And then I had to take it on the airplane. That's just wrong. But I did it, and I survived. But so imagine the person reading it. Always imagine your audience. Do they know what you're saying? Do they get what you're saying? Do they know who you are at the end of it? You want to be able to have explain why you're going to study abroad, and that's what Robert just did. It may not be your reasons for studying abroad, but he gave you a bunch of reasons to study abroad. If you didn't hear it, work on that and get your own reasons for studying abroad. Describe your study abroad program, just short. It's a year-long program. I'll be learning Spanish in Jaén, Spain. Most of my classes will be to learn Spanish, but at the end of the 2nd semester, I will be able to take classes in Spanish. We're done. Have you chosen it? Why did you pick Spain? I'm using this example of Spain. Don't say because it's really close to other places and I can leave it easily. Or like Switzerland, I'm familiar with everywhere so I can travel. This is not a travel program. This is not a tourist bureau. So make sure that you have good academic reasons for going where you're going to go. If you can't come up with any, I can certainly help you. And if you can't come up with any, we've got other issues. Okay, so it's not to say you can't say I want to travel as well. They expect that. Like Robert said, you want to have the experience of being in Europe or the experience of being in South America. But you don't want to make that be your primary reason for going. You also don't want to say, I want to be a studious student every moment and every day is going to be stuck in school. But that way, why go? You got to say what you're going to do in that country. What's different about it?
I didn't say a minor in my study abroad application because I hadn't declared it yet, but can I talk about it in my scholarship?
Absolutely, especially if it's relevant to your studies. I want to complete, they want to see outcomes, so for several of you are completing your minor abroad. So they want to see that you're going to be completing your minor in Japanese by going to a summer program. That's huge to them because you're progressing towards graduation. Use those words. I will be progressing towards my graduation by attending school in Jaén, Spain, for example. You want to make this look academic as well as personal. The enrichment should be both. How will the coursework help you in your classwork, the professional goals? That's the same question we asked in the IP application. And if it's not going to help you at all, like you're a teledramatic arts student going to Italy, for example, I don't know where I came up with that. But let's say, for example, you are. Well, obviously, teledramatic arts depends a great deal on visuals and culture and understanding people and all that good stuff. Put that in there. That's not something you learn in a classroom. You can't learn that in a classroom. That's why you need to go study abroad. Put it in there. You need to think more broadly than just, I'm going to get this class or this class or that class. Challenges. Well, distinguished components, sorry. Coursework, many of you are going to be learning in that language. Most Americans study in English or abroad. Most Americans go for only 1 semester. Put it in there that you're going for a year and you're going to be studying in that language. You are too. By the end, you will be very knowledgeable. Italy, all those countries except for the United Kingdom and Australia, you will be learning the local language. You have a question?
So studying in that language means taking a course?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, and the opportunity opportunity to learn it successfully enough to actually take an academic course in that class. You're not saying, I'm going to. You're saying, my expectation and my hope is that I will become fluent enough. Now, never say you're going to be fluent. None of you are going to be fluent by the end of this. You do not become fluent in 1 year. You become conversational, you become advanced, you do not become fluent. Fluency is where if I say, Jack and Jill ran up a hill, you don't change that to Jorge and Sam ascended. You know, because sometimes, you know, the words are similar enough that you look it up in the dictionary, that's what it says. But you have to understand nuance in the language to truly be fluent. And none of you will be bilingual either, unless you already are. Of course, that's entirely different. But you will need to put in there that you are going to be aspiring towards fluency. That's fine. Gaining it 1 year, not likely. And if you do, more power to you. This is number 6, what they want to hear. I hate to say this, and I know this sounds really, really disgusting, but they want to know the challenges you've overcome. When I was a kid, so 426 years ago, there was a show called Queen for a Day. And these poor women, oh God, this is so terrible. Now, television wasn't all that common in that day. It was like a reality show. It was a lot better than a reality show. It would be a woman who goes on the stage and says, my life sucks, and it's terrible because my husband just lost his job, and my mother died, and the dog got ill, and the kid has cancer, and blah, 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 blah. And then the person with the worst sob story would win a washer and dryer. I'm not kidding. Oh, sometimes a refrigerator.
Oh, I know that.
Okay, it's called Queen for a Day. Each of you need to turn into Queen for a Day. What have you overcome to get where you are today? That's what they want woven throughout this whole essay. So I'm Queen for the Day because my life was difficult in the following way. I overcame it with the strength of my relationship with my family. Or I overcame it by studying hard. Or it never really bothered me. Some people would look at my life and say, wow, you guys were raised in poverty. And I would look at them and say, no, I wasn't. We didn't have money, but there's no poverty here. That type of thing, oh, it just rips their heart out. And you want to be able to do something like that. You want to be able to talk about being Chinese American in an all-white school. You want to be able to talk about your challenges of whatever they were, whether they be economic, whether they be personal. You have a learning disability, put it in there. Go get one. You want to put in what is true for you, you want to put in. And if it wasn't a challenge for you, say, let's go back to the Chinese American example. If it wasn't a challenge for you being a Chinese American in an all-white school, put that in. You know, I had the family who had taught me to understand that it is not what ethnicity I am, it's who I am that matters. My colleagues who tried to pin me into a corner by saying Chinese Americans are all smart, that was their issue, not mine. You know, I'm not doing this right, but you know, that type of thing. You want to make sure you put what is real for you, but they do not want to see superficial. They want to see that you took some effort and know who you are and have some maturity. And that's why this essay is hard. These are easy to answer. But this part, woven into all 3 of these, challenging. At the same time, you don't want to make it so obnoxious that it's like, really, why is she going abroad if she has all these problems? You know? You got to make it, balance it out, and I'm happy to read them before you submit them. Nothing's more frustrating than having to submit something I know is going to fail. And I have enough experience at this now that I feel like I can give you pretty solid advice. But I'm not going to change your writing or what you want to say because it's your essay and your life. But think about it. If you've had challenges, put them in there. But don't expose anything that feels uncomfortable. I mean, I had a student once put in about the murder of a parent in front of them. That's big. And that's fine if you're okay putting it out there. But don't feel obligated to go to places that are painful. Does that make sense? Okay. I mean, this is not about therapy. This is about getting a scholarship. Let's keep it in perspective. Any questions about that? Okay. Next essay will be your hardest one because it asks you to do a follow-on project. Your proposal will be, their goal is to have you come back to the same university or, usually it's the same university, and do something that helps promote study abroad in an underrepresented population. Now, we forgot to mention the eligibility. Everybody's welcome to apply of any race, ethnicity, background, etc. But they do have some preference for people who are non-traditional. Non-traditional in this case means if you are not a white woman going to Western Europe, they prefer you. Well, who's the white woman going to Western Europe? You don't hear.
Spencer.
You know. I know. I've interviewed you. They don't, men have the first, with what we do, honestly, men have a real opportunity. It's gonna work toward your advantage. Women, okay, you get points for being male. No way around that one. You get points for being non-white.
Oh.
You got one, don't complain. You get points for being in sciences. Psychology.
Computer counts.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. There she is, she's on it, okay. Good. Psychology can be looked at as a science field. But here we're getting a BA for our science, am I right? I'm for our psychology, is that right? Are you psychology? Somebody's science. Who's psychology? Okay, she left. Somebody in psychology, anyway, I'm sure there are a lot of people in psychology. If you have something that is a science major, use it. She's got it. Yeah, hold on to her, she's gonna get a lot of money. Okay, now, if you have a CST degree, you folks with a CST, make sure you focus in on the science aspect of it. Try not to call it graphic arts. Everybody thinks of you as artsy, which is true. But when you tell dramatic arts and technology, you use the technology part, but it still won't go down in science. It'll look better than trying, don't ever say you're a film studies major.
Hey, even though we're CD, are we getting our BA or BS?
Yeah.
Oh.
We're
I'm
on it,
focusing on the
okay.
computer, the science part.
Yeah, you do. And you don't lie. I mean, your program really is science. I mean, even though we're kidding about it here, it really is science. Teledramatic arts has technology, but not science.
Yeah.
So bio students, anybody bio? Oh, we have a bunch of bios applying. They have a huge advantage. If you're male, non-Anglo in the bio department, going to Ethiopia or Tanzania, you're like so on it. But if you write a terrible essay, you know. White women going to Europe can still get it. A third of the students who get the scholarships are going to Europe, and about a third of those are white women. So you don't cross yourself out under any circumstance. You need to know, Japan's considered non-traditional, which at our school is kind of funny, but at our, looking at the United States, not as many people go there as go to Western Europe. Australia is considered very, very traditional, traditional, not non-traditional. So Australia is not likely to get it. United Kingdom, not also, except for being a male. Helps. Okay, so that's the part, you're going to weave that all into your first essay. Your ethnicity, again, not if you're not comfortable doing it. If you don't want to wear it on your sleeve, you don't have to. So they're going to wonder about it. I had a white woman who was going to Italy talk about how, I know I'm not your traditional candidate, I'm a white woman who is going to Western Europe, and I know that's not the group that you're targeting. But then she went on with a great explanation of why she has to go to Italy. She can't go to Tanzania to study what she was going to study, is museum studies. She didn't get the scholarship. So in that case, she did a really good job. She has every reason to give a scholarship. I would not emphasize being a white woman going to Italy if you don't have something else to bring to the table. She really did have everything she could have gotten and didn't get it. Okay, so the second essay, you leave all that aside. You've already talked about where you're going, why you're going, all that good stuff, who you are, and you talk about how you're going to help promote study abroad to non-traditional audiences when you get back. Do not recreate the wheel. Do not say you're going to do something that is simply not possible to do with 16 units. If you're coming back here to CSUMB, you're going to be taking like 16 units. You might be working, you'll be readjusting, and then you're going to go make it, you're going to do this project. It does not have to be complicated. The idea is to look at your own hobbies and your own interests. And with your own hobbies and your own interests, find a group within that who would like to hear about study abroad, or maybe has never heard about study abroad. That's the best audience. One guy who got the scholarship was a soccer player in high school. He lived, I think, in Watsonville. I'm not sure exactly, but it was that part of the county. And he still helped, and he did refereeing for the scholarships. He was very much involved with the parents, and it was a Spanish-only league, just coincidentally, all the parents spoke Spanish. So he set up information tables about studying abroad at the soccer games. That's all he had to do. He did it like to 6 soccer games that were local, and was available to answer questions to students, to the kids, and they were kids, like I think they're 8 to 10, and their parents in Spanish. What a great idea, because you're really getting a young person who hadn't maybe thought even of studying abroad. So that's the type of thing they want. Another thing that I would recommend is look at teachers. Look at setting up a pen pal relationship between somebody at a school in your country and one of the schools here. For example, you could also go to different classrooms and talk about it. What you don't want to put down is, when I studied abroad advisor, Holly White said I could do some information sessions. You're all going to do that. You owe us. I'm kidding. But you're all going to do that because you'll want to when you get back. If you're shy, you don't have to, but it really is fun to do. And you need to come back here with the approach that you're going to do that. So put that in your essay. Like, it's an expectation of my school that I do give back when I get back. And one of the ways to do that will be through information tables. And I am obligated to do those, and I'm excited by that. Put that in. Those of you not taking notes are worrying me, because how are you going to remember all this? I'm not repeating it.
It's video recording.
Thank you.
How are you going to get that? You know people. You care, okay. But you don't want to have to do that. Go, what the hell is it? Where is it? You want to write down some notes. So you will want to put in your lower in your essay, of course, or at the very top. Of course, I will be doing the traditional info sessions. I'll be talking to students at my campus who come to these info sessions, and our study abroad advisor tells us it's obligatory. Well, I think it sounds like fun, so to me that's not an obligation. I just did your first paragraph. Second paragraph. In addition to that, I plan on going to my high school, for example, which is made up of this diverse group of people, and talking to one of my faculty members, the teachers that I like the best. He or she and I are still in contact. We will set up 5 information sessions at lunchtime to talk to the students who probably never thought about going to college, much less studying abroad. For example, you're making yourself a role model, is what you're doing. And you want to do that so that people notice. So go with that and figure out what works for you. Other successful projects, arts. Who's artists around here? Even if, and graphic arts would work with this too. If you're thinking, or movies too, you can help us create, like this session, put it on our website. You're going to create a video. While you're there, you're going to get snapshots from everybody and make stills of them. You're going to get little video pieces, and you're going to put it on our very underdeveloped website. And you're going to be sending it to us throughout the year, and we're going to upload it onto our website. And you have a commitment from us to do that. You don't have to name it, just say our study abroad. Right? And what they do not want you to do is not have any of this emotion. Like what I told you to do with the pen pal, you will need to have set up this side of it before you write that you're going to do it. They don't want you to say, I'm going to dream about doing X, Y, and Z. They want you to actually have a plan. I've spoken to this person, the professor, or the teacher of the 2nd grade at All Saints Day School, and that would be a place I'd recommend because my kids go there. And they have agreed that during International Week, I can come set up a display and encourage students to go abroad. Now, wait, that's a private school. You might want to work with a non-private school or a school that has a lot of diversity. So you've already gotten that commitment as much as you can on this side of the world. Then when you go on that side, here's my plan to do it. Michael, who I talked about from Korea, who went to Korea rather, was a music minor. I'm going to get that wrong. He's major or minor. And he writes music and he has a band. So his project was about learning Korean songs, recording them, and then presenting a couple of them to students interested in studying abroad. They loved that. He got $8,000. I think what happened with that one, and then what we did was set up an international night at Mountain Mike's, and he came and played some Korean songs. We all melted. He recorded it. He sent it in. He's done. You know, that's not creating a whole new, is doing what's interesting to him. Is doing what he wanted to do anyway. So those of you without any interests or hobbies may be thinking, well, I'm too boring. I don't know anything. You're not. You do something. I know you do. So what I'm going to do right now is say, okay, who's thought about this? Has anybody thought about a project? Stephanie.
Well, I just thought about it right now.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm not very artistic, but I have a really, really creative mind.
Good.
And so we remember we were talking about France and how the literature and the art and stuff were there. What if I learned some art and I come back and I use my whole communication design, graphic design thing, and I make somewhat like a mural. I don't really know how to make, I'm a freshman, I don't know how to make the video things. But I can make posters and murals.
Absolutely. You know, actually somebody did a capstone on that. Somebody in ITCD created a whole capstone around making posters for us.
Wow.
No, her name is Laura. Laura.
Yeah.
She was in Germany. Yes, that is fabulous. You would be on the line to create these using photos. Make sure you add this piece. Using photos of multicultural people. So it doesn't look like that's where you're going to bring the multiculturalism into it, because you need to have that multiculturalism in there. If you're just going to put up posters with a bunch of white people, that's not promoting multiculturalism.
Right.
And just the color of skin doesn't matter. You need age, you need major, you need all sorts of things, but you also do need to look at the ethnic composition of your photos. So yeah, develop that, that's fabulous. That's great.
I have connections with the Japanese teachers over at North Salinas High School, and I was thinking that maybe I could do something like a pen pal situation, set up a sister school over in the Tokyo region.
Okay, that was good until you got to the sister school part. That gets into bureaucracy.
Okay.
And so step back away from that and do what you're saying. Pen pal to that Japanese class, and you'll have the Japanese students will write in English to the Japanese class, and the Japanese class will write in Japanese back. Or they'll do Skype 15 minutes a week discussions, so that they're actually talking to an American, and you will be the one to set up, this girl's interested in tennis, this girl's interested in tennis, they are partners. Those are called tandem exchanges, and we're not going to use that term because that's actually copywritten. But you will do something like that in your essay, and put a name to it. They all love new vocabulary. So you could say, I'll do an ambassador's exchange. Oh, ambassador's program. Developing the ambassador's program at CSUMB is something I need help with. Anybody who can't think of a project, but is very social, could help me organize, yeah, no, you're doing a video. You can help me set up, you can't do it, you already have one. Somebody who doesn't have one can help set up the ambassador's program. And if you want help with it, of course, you can say, something that really drew my attention was setting up an ambassador's program, because the new students who come to CSUMB from other countries is going to quadruple in the next year. We're getting about 200 next year. We have 17 now. We have actually 65 on campus, but a lot of them are exchange, and a lot of them will be a different group this year, especially from Germany. So anybody going to Germany will want to use our needs to help the German students a great deal. You know, from Japan, we have a lot of students coming. You can support them by creating cultural events and creating programs that will be specifically targeted at our students who are non-traditional, coming to meet the Japanese students who are here, and making the Japanese students who are here comfortable in those meetings. Because you can't just have it one directional. You've got to have it both. Who else has an idea?
Okay, let's say I go to Spain and I make a video of the culture in Spain. What do you do with the video?
That's a good question. How would you include a multicultural environment there?
By like the food and the stuff, like, I don't know, like being part of like, yeah, like going to places. Well, you know, what was the name of this school?
Oh, Robert?
Yeah, he was saying about like getting to, meeting students and knowing the attractions. There's a probably like being part of something.
Yeah, you could do that. If I were you, I would put it I will interview students from various ethnicities and backgrounds who are in Spain with me for the year and talk about what's important to them. And then I will upload that video on our Study Abroad website. Currently, there is not a Study Abroad video website, and students love to see videos, and there's not one. The reason I say that is because they're going to think, oh my God, this is like the 500th video they allow on their... No, we don't have any. That doesn't mean we're not going to, because he's going to do it too. But we can have 3 or 4. And you'll be in Spain, he'll be in Italy, somebody else will do it from Japan, for instance. Okay. Okay, you're on it? Okay, that's your project. Okay, does that make sense? So what you want to make sure you do is don't see Spain from one perspective. See it from various perspectives, so that people here from various backgrounds can also see themselves through those eyes there. That's what multiculturalism is all about. You want to be able to see what's out there. And even if the person's different than you are, you've made them feel like they can learn and grow in that environment. That's not actually what multiculturalism is all about, but that's a piece of it. Who else has an idea? You got to come up with something. This is your chance. Don't be shy. There's no bad idea. No one else? Spencer? Your idea is?
Dude, I'm going to talk to Chun Wong. I'm going to talk to him.
Chun Wong?
Chun-Yi? Yeah, Chun Wong.
Do you really call him Chun-Yi?
Yeah, he's my friend.
Oh, that's cool.
We're friends now.
Okay, Dr. Wong is still acceptable.
He's a doctor. Oh, that's what Is he really a doctor?
Chun Wong, you're professor for HCO?
Yes.
Most of your faculty are doctors.
He mostly spends.
Okay, you're 20 or 19?
Yeah.
He has a PhD?
Okay, I'll start with Dr. Wong.
Start there and he'll say, oh, call me Chun. But he's definitely not Chun.
I think you already said choose.
Okay, go for it, whatever is right, but you know, you always want to respect up the level, not down. Okay, talk to him, but he is a really good expert at American literature, and he might be able to help you bring the context of Taiwan to the States. Adios. Yeah. Oh, that's cool thing. It's so annoying. Anybody else feel free to go if you need to. We're going to go over here. But do talk to him specifically about what it is you could bring back that's tangible. Now, for you going to Taiwan, you could organize a food night for all the international programs. Anybody a foodie around here? Okay, foodie. You already have one. Oh. You tell me your foodies. Now you can change your mind. I'm
No,
just
I
kidding.
actually don't like them.
Okay, the foodies of the world. You can have, you're going to Japan? You could have an Asian food night. Now you can have a fair on campus because that deals with all sorts of health and yeah, well not just Sodexo, but the health, what are they called? The health inspectors and licenses and things like that. So but you could certainly have a casual one at home. Again, inviting the exchange students to come meet with students who are thinking about studying abroad. You're creating that exchange right there. Now, to be a foodie in this, you want to also do some research, and you're going to attach some recipes that you learn in Japan, in your case, or in Ireland, in your case, and you're going to make them here. And you're also going to publish a small book of it, or a small blog about your food experiences in Ireland. Food experiences in Ireland is really, really a good idea, because does anybody know what they eat in Ireland? Don't answer. Anybody?
Potatoes.
That's Idaho.
No, that's also Ireland. They have gammon there.
Oh.
But you're right, it is Idaho.
That's actually why a lot of people.
Okay, but they do eat a lot of interesting foods. And foods that some of us would go, ew. But how do you make them yummy? You're going to find out how you make them yummy. Anybody else have an idea for a food? Do you understand what you're going to do? Or do you have an idea?
Yeah.
All we want is a little bud. Start blossoming. Okay. Anybody else? What about you? Either one. Matthew.
Okay. I know I didn't hear anything about studying abroad in my high school, so tabling for them.
Do they live local? Is it local?
San Francisco.
How will you do that during the school year? No, it's not good. I just wanted you to think about it. What you will do is get a poster together that you make of all the photos there with the diverse people and populations in front of amazing places, and you're going to make a poster board that they hang up in their student advising centers or wherever. And from there, you're going to have material that you will have created because you're a graphic design person. You will have created these lovely materials that they'll have right there, including contact information about who to talk to about this. Okay, so develop it to the point where somebody can actually use it, not just see it.
Okay, I have a question. Because I'm not like computer office, oh man,
Yeah.
that's like frustrating me. But what if like taking your idea of like recipes and like kind of like a scrapbook kind of thing, but like a website online?
Perfect.
You know?
That's very techy.
Yeah. Can you like work with other?
Oh, sure. They don't care who you work with. This is going to be your project. You're in charge of it. But you can certainly get support for your activities. In fact, they love that because that assumes you're going to learn something new.
Right.
Don't put in it, I don't know anything about it.
Right.
Put it, I have a friend who's lined up to get the website together for me. Spencer's going to help me. Oh, you know what else would be a good one for somebody else who's techie in here? Get a recipe from each of the countries that will be going, of the students who are going abroad. Yeah, get the list from me, and you will get the list, and you will put, everybody will put their favorite recipe down, and that's how you will make this scrapbook recipe book. Every country, not just your own. Everyone.
Is this sort of project on lots of different scholarships? Because I know for a fact that I don't qualify.
For this?
Yes.
Okay, if you don't qualify, it does have, Bridge and JASO want some ideas like this. It's not quite as well developed though. If they don't ask for it, give it to them anyway. When I get home, I'm going to continue my study abroad experience in the following way. That is, whether they ask for it or not, it's always going to be beneficial. And also feel free to leave if you feel like you've gotten what you need. Because if you don't qualify,
I didn't know if we were actually going to talk about any
We are going to get to Bridge in about 3 minutes, but Bridge is just for the Japanese students, so that you guys can stay here and do Jocelyn Bridge. Anything else? Any project?
NCA's campus
Okay.
first.
Very different matter.
Maybe an idea of sharing different cultures, popular cultures, like maybe some popular culture.
I think that's excellent. Excellent idea. Popular culture, or here's another idea, not to take away from that one. Another additional idea would be how different cultures use social media, and use examples of it. You know, like people in Germany do not sit around with their cell phones. And you sit and you take a picture of them having coffee with each other and not sitting with their cell phone. It's like an amazing concept, but different things like that. But pop culture is also a good one. Like what is popular there? What do they consider culture? But that's more academic. That's going to be tough to bring back like what will the outcome actually be? Like will it be a paper? Will it be photographs? Will it be a blog? Will it be talking to 4 different classrooms? What will it be? Oh, the Japanese students, you all have to make that presentation. I remember that you guys watched to see what school you want to go to. You'll all be doing that next year. That's part of this too. Add that in.
It's just Japanese students that do
Yeah,
that?
Japanese folks, yeah, they are required to present about their past study abroad experience. Now 2 other Japanese students, we have an opportunity for you to casually do so, but they're actually not quite as casual. It's required. Uh-huh.
So you mentioned tabling here at the OU.
I was kind of kidding about the OU part, but if it works for you, go with it.
Opportunity.
Go ahead.
And I was just confused about which essay that goes in.
Number 2.
Number 2 or
Number 1 is all about you.
Okay.
All about your study abroad, all academic, all that good stuff. If you have a high GPA, by the way, make sure you list it in your essay number 1. In the second one, it's all about the project.
Define high.
3.2 and above. Okay,
If I wanted to, because I was considering this thing kind of like going to my high school, like talking to some of my teachers from my high school. I think that it'd be a good crowd. I have a really, really huge high school, and a lot of kids that don't go to college, so it might be another reason to look forward to going to college.
Exactly.
And since I don't have, I usually don't take Friday classes, so I could commute there and do a Friday presentation or something to different classes.
That's great. You'll set that up before you write the essay.
Okay.
Even a quick phone call.
I just call a little Spanish teacher or English.
Yeah, or do they have such a thing in freshman year as like a community college type thing, or senior year, I guess, or junior year?
There's a senior class that's like writing class that's for college-bound students.
But you want to do that audience as well as those who never considered college, like
Yeah.
you said. That's a really good idea. Now make sure it's concrete enough. That wouldn't necessarily buy you a lot of points. That will buy you some.
Okay.
But one more step about how you're going to create, again, the materials to break this down for people.
Like if I kept a blog while I was there and
They don't like blogs. Everybody in their cow does them. What you can do, especially if you go to Switzerland, they have a cow. If you are able to speak Spanish, which you are, you could also do it at Spanish Parents Night. Or if they have a special information session for parents, as most schools do, you could present there.
Or there's we have a Spanish club or something.
Okay, good, excellent.
Yeah.
So focus in on what's different about just going to classes.
Specific to my country.
Would you do me a favor, since you're now our tech master, and look at the Bridge Scholarship, please? Okay, anybody have any other one to go over?
Oh, this is about Bridge.
Okay, we'll get there in a minute. Hold on to the question. Do you have an idea about your scholarship, or what your project would be?
No,
What do you like to do? Nothing? Okay, think about what you like to do, and then think about how you can promote study abroad to others, and you gotta have something.
Well, if you type in Bridge
Wait,
Asia Foundation
let's go
Scholarship.
here.
Well, since I'm in the journalism program at H-Town, they'll probably say when I come back, I'll
At
probably do
Asia.
a paper for it, write for the paper for it.
Write an article about it, yes.
Type up an article for every paper.
Oh, you know what you could do? Become the international editor.
All right.
You would set that up with Estrella Cora, before you go, that while abroad and here, you will be the first ever international editor, and we will set that up to be a permanent position. So that the newspaper starts not just advertising study abroad, but starts having an angle about studying abroad that is built into their structure. It's not a fly-by-night thing, it's not gonna just disappear. You're gonna create that structure and then you're gonna fill that position, which means one article every month while you're there, or one article when you get back, or whatever the case is. People have done that one before, but I think the editor piece is new, trying to be the international editor. And you'll also weave in politics, international scope of it, because and HCOM as part of your studies as well. Put that in, that because that's not true of most communications majors, but here it is part of that. Okay, who else would like to tell us about their idea for the scholarship? Anything yet?
I'm a golfer, so maybe something with the first tee.
Oh, yeah. You know, also the part for you is going abroad with family. That is, a dad going abroad with family is huge. They never get that. And that helps you become underrepresented in a big way. Because most people who go abroad, we've had a woman who went abroad with her child and her boyfriend, and she did a blog about how to do this, because practically it's much more difficult. So you talk about, you break it down. How do you work your finances? How do you work your visits to your family? How do you make sure that they're settled and you're settled? How do you work your studies in? It's a really, really good way to get even a blog, which they don't really like, but a blog content for dads studying abroad would be amazing. They would jump off it.
Put it on the side.
Yeah, but golfing is also a good idea. Golfers don't tend to be underrepresented. They can be, but there's not generally a population that they would look for as being diverse. If I'm wrong about that, and it is diverse, definitely show that in your essay. Okay. Let's move on unless anybody has an essay you want to talk about.
No, not for the essay, but let's say, because you're saying Puerto Rico might not be.
Is not.
Yeah, and let's say if I get the scholarship, if I qualify, and then it looks like I do, but I was checking, Spain doesn't have like for my major, but this is like what classes would I take?
You would probably take a minor.
Minor?
Yeah, Spanish, for example. And don't just go, want that minor. You don't want to just fill in a blank because you want to go to Spain. Tell me again your major. TAT. People have gone to lots of different countries because of TAT really does allow you to explore different scenery, different people, different cultures. That's the part you'd emphasize, but in a practical sense, you would probably need to stay another semester, possibly two, to make up for the lack of the year of taking TAT classes. But you would get a Spanish minor, possibly even major, done while you're there. So balance that out to see whether that's reasonable. TAT is a little bit difficult for us, but TAT does have programs and classes in Germany. But Spain is a great place to go for everything except your major. Yeah. Chile is great too. Chile does have TAT.
Do they have like the state Spanish? But
It's all Spanish. You have to have very good Spanish. You have to have 5 semesters of Spanish. The 4th semester would be Spanish 309. You need to go add it today or tomorrow or Monday. It's a Latin American Studies class, and you have to have 1 Latin American Studies class. And it is Spanish 309. The student who's in it right now loves it.
I'm planning on just going for 1 semester. Would I be able to get my minor in that 1 semester? No.
Yeah. If you have 4 semesters worth already, you only need 2 more classes.
I'm just taking Spanish classes.
Yeah, that's fine. That counts as 4. You just need 2 more. Usually people take more though because they want to keep their Spanish going. But that would complete your minor for a semester. Yeah. And so I would write your essay for Córdoba, Spain, the University of Córdoba in Spain. Go research it to make sure you want to go there. Just randomly, but it's a very good school. We also have the university in Argentina now. A very good program, especially for Spanish speakers. The classes are all in Spanish, just like in Córdoba. But it's an excellent, less expensive option, and it would have amazing scenery. Amazing. So 1 semester would be great. We need to talk about that further. Okay. Let's move on to, if you all only want to know about the bridges, you can leave, but please leave quietly because we want to make sure, if you only want to know about Pell, please feel free to leave.
I have a question. If I want to do a summer program, will this qualify?
If you're going to be in the summer program has to be 4 weeks or longer. Let's not talk when you get out to our people. Spencer? Bye.
I know I was talking to you last time because I may graduate this spring.
You have to still have a requirement. 'Cause if you are considered graduated, you don't qualify.
Okay, so then I would drop one of my major classes then?
Well, talk to Yoshiko Saito Abbott, because you want to make sure you get that one back.
Which one?
I don't know which one. Dr. Saito Abbott? Oh, you're a Japanese major?
No, CD, so Tao.
Oh, talk to Dr. Tao about what, see, I don't think any of your major classes are going to qualify. Do you have a minor?
Art, but I already did all of mine.
See, all the Spanish, all the classes you're going to take in Japan are not related. You're going to Japan?
No, I don't even know.
Oh, God, sorry. Listen to mine. See if there's one, see, the hard part's going to be getting that same requirement during the summer.
Because I am taking a physical science, so maybe that one.
There aren't many physical science programs in the summer. And there's hardly any. Talk to Dr. Tao and see if there is one that you could drop and take over the summer. But without knowing what program you'd be going to, that's going to be hard for him to assess.
Yeah.
Where do you want to be?
I was thinking somewhere that's they speak Spanish.
Have you completed your Spanish requirement?
Yeah,
How many semesters have you had?
I took the assessment.
Then do you want a minor? So you want to go take Spanish in Spain?
Okay.
Okay, so go add your minor, go add a Spanish minor, and then you will not graduate in May. You can still march if you complete your requirements in the summer.
Okay.
But make sure that's worth it to you personally.
So then another question, let's say I wanted a minor in photography, but the minor isn't here.
Yeah, you
So
have
that
to do it.
wouldn't, no, okay then, Spanish, okay then.
Spanish
Thank
it
you.
is. Go talk Spanish from and see how reasonable that is.
Okay then. Thank you.
Okay, those of you who left, you're probably going to Japan. Yes, you are. Okay, so our tech guru over here, who volunteered without knowing it, has found this scholarship. Bridging Foundation. Okay, she'll take over, right? I don't really care if you do or not. I just need somebody to push like that. So this scholarship we've never gotten. We've never had anybody who got it before, but that's also because we generally don't have people try it out. So if you would be so kind as to click on this, the U.S. Japan Bridging Foundation. The reason I tell you that is you need to know a little bit about the background. What is the point of the scholarship? I don't know yet. Here we go. The foundation is intended to help undergraduate students who want to study in Japan for one semester in an academic year. We expand the opportunities for blah, 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 blah. So you all qualify, except for the summer program. Right. Okay, so let's see. Okay, we're good. Go to, wait, where's the application? Go to scholarship program? Right there, okay, go for it. Okay, so, you know what's a good idea? Look at the recipients from either one of the spring 2012 or fall 2012. Just scroll down a little bit. Oh, not there. Oh, here she is. Bye, thank you. Oh, okay, click on any of these recipients, because I want to see what schools they're from. Oh, you go back to where you are, okay. Winners can receive up to $4,000 in assistance with living while in Japan during one semester. That's a chunk of change. That's more than any other scholarship I know of. No, that's the same as the highest amount of the Gilman Scholarship. This is the Friendship Commission, it's all good. You do have to be, I know for this one for a fact, you have to be a very good student. By very good student, I don't mean just a strong GPA. I mean strong faculty recommendation. You need a strong focus on Japanese. It doesn't mean you have to be a major. You have to be a major or a minor. Okay? So let's go back to, that works. Let's go to here, the fall 2012, Bridging Scholars. The reason is I want you to see that it's all over the place. Yeah, go down one. No, where you were. See where the, yeah, fall, yeah. Okay, and you see that it's not, they don't care if you're going to Tokyo. They don't care if you're just going to one place. When I looked at this website last night, I was amazed actually that it appears to me that smaller cities tend to get the scholarship, although these are actually pretty big cities. So it doesn't look like a bias towards one kind of city or another, which is helpful for all of you. Those of you going outside of Tokyo, though, I think have a bit of an advantage because they want to, you know, you look a little more adventuresome to them. Doesn't mean you are. You need to look at it. Can you go back, please? Oh, wait, I'm sorry. We've granted 90 scholarship in one semester. That's a lot. That's a good amount. Okay, go back up to the download bridging, if you would, the brochure. Up higher. To the download the bridging scholarship brochure. Up higher. Right there you go. Yeah. Now, the reason why the brochure is important is because it tells you about deadlines, April 8th, It tells you about the qualifications, I mean, how you do it, right up here, instructions. You complete the application. You have to be able to have time to get this in there. It's only 500 words. Do you know how hard it is to sell yourself in 500 words? Distinguish yourself in a way that every word counts. We're going to need to talk about that further because it's really a lot easier to write a 7,000 character essay than it is, well, actually depends on the words you use, but anyway, it is hard to do this type of essay, but we can sculpt that very well. You all generally tend to be good writers from Japan, from Japanese major. Official transcripts, letter of recommendation is somebody who knows your knowledge about your abilities and potential, preferably a professor in your major course of study. Now again, if you're a Japanese minor, say you're environmental science, you can get it for an environmental science faculty instead of Japanese. In my opinion though, the Japanese program here tends to know their students quite well. And the best one to get is the one who's at the top, because they do like hierarchy, and it's with good reason. They want to know who this person is, and they don't know necessarily the name, but they know titles. So somebody with a title, any one of your faculty could do this. They want to have like a doctor would be ideal, a PhD, chair of the department, ideal. One of your personal instructors, even if it's not the chair of the department, is great. Somebody who you know and they will recognize the name of. I'm the professor of Japan Cool, and so-and-so was in my class and received an A. I found her to be wonderful in all things, etc. So you want to make sure it's not mom, and it's not, sometimes they try to use the EOP advisors because they're such good people. But that's not what this is looking for. I mean, it doesn't specify that it has to be a professor. But just knowing what you all know about culture, I think you can see why that's probably a good idea. Let's see. If you don't get this, oh, you can't, fax or emails will not be accepted. So that means you got to plan ahead. I would look at this as if it was due April 1st. Because then you will get it in on time. I would do both the Gilman Scholarship and the Bridge just at the same time if you do both. Plan and study, yeah, you're not going to do this if none of you are going in spring. You're all going in fall or summer, right? The procedure might be important to know, but I bet you can figure it out. What they really hate is when you ask questions they already answer. So read this thoroughly so that you understand what they're expecting. The Bridging receives stipend of $2,500 for a single semester. Oh, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. It's $4,000 for an academic year. I said it wrong. So it's the same essentially as the Gilman, but a little bit less for the annual, but $2,500 for the one semester is about what Gilman does as well. Did you read this part? Must be received by April 8th. That's why I say make sure you think of it as being due April 1st. Word document is what they want. Okay, here's the form you're going to use. Do you see AAT.org, AATJ.org/study abroad/scholarship, but again, you can Google this probably more easily. When you click on that, can you go to that one? Yeah. Okay, let's see. This might be interesting. At home in Japan, what no one tells you. We're doing a session like that called the stuff, but we're not using the word stuff, that happens to you overseas. And it's a very humorous look at some serious topics, like how not to over-romanticize being there, etc. So that might be fun for you to read. Huh? Okay, summer programs you might look at too. Let's see, now this is just talking about the program itself, not the scholarship. Let's go back to that Bridging Scholarship Study Abroad. We've already done everything we need to do. Oh, I'm sorry, go back one to the critical language piece. See the very top? That's summer immersion. Do you think your program would be considered summer immersion? Yes. Okay, language immersion I mean. So definitely look into that to see what it would work. Now the deadline is November 15th.
A little late.
Let's see.
Oh,
I'm
I know
not
that.
sure.
Oh, I know that program.
You do?
Yep.
What do you know about it?
I applied for it about 2 years ago. That's an entirely different scholarship. It's meant to just put you in one of the 13 like critical languages, and Japanese just happens to be one of them. And it's a government ran type of thing. So
Yeah.
you get an 8-week it's an 8-week intensive with pretty much everything comped.
But yeah, and that actually was a good program. And now that you describe it, we've had a student go on something similar to that, and it's actually quite good. You might want to look into that. Okay, can you go back to, let's go to frequently asked questions. How can I pay for it? Wait, don't do it yet. This is really elementary for what you guys know already. I don't want you to waste your time reading, like, what is Education Japan about? I think you have a pretty good idea, all right? Doesn't hurt to read it, but how do I pay for it? Can you click on that? Yeah, that one, yeah. Okay, so, they're recommending Gilman, they're recommending Warren. Rotary Foundation is actually not a bad idea. Do any of you come from a town that you know the Rotary, or your parents are part of the Rotary Club? Excellent. Look at their websites or talk to your leader person and talk about how to get those scholarships. Rotary Club can pay sometimes up to $15,000. Actually, they can pay more. It's not likely, but it's really possible. If you don't know, it doesn't mean you can't go on the web and find out what your hometown's Rotary Club is able to do. Now, if your hometown doesn't have a Rotary Club, look at the Seaside Marina Rotary Club. They do have money for experiences abroad. So go to them, look at their website, and see what they can do. The local one just has an email that you go to, and you email that person, and some of those people are really dynamic, and sometimes it's just somebody who was stuck with a job. So you might have to be very proactive. Every time you call the Rotary Club representatives, be professional, because every one of those interactions requires that. Now, they're going to want you to be part of Rotaract. I never say that right. Rotary, but for college students, they use the word act, the last syllable. But you don't have to be. We had a girl get $16,000 for one semester in Jamaica through the Rotary Club. And here's the website right here. And so this is actually a wealth of information because it gives you a little bit more than what I traditionally look at. Because they only do give one, maybe two. But who's to say that can't be you? Going to Japan is very impressive to people. And you want to use that. Absolutely look at what you can. Let's see. This, can you go to this one? Yeah. ITOL? I call it ITOL. Is it ETOL or ITOL? Okay. So, if you can read that, you can get it. Go back. I can't read it. It's worth looking at everything they list here. Because it, like that one, for example, yeah, not likely to be helpful to me. But look, it is intended for non-native speakers. They probably have translation right there. Look for the British or the American flag at the top of their website, and that's what you find out. This is well worth looking into. Scroll up again, if you would, to the Bridging Scholarship. Yeah, click on that. And we're going to go to the application form again. Download the Microsoft Word form, please. Oh, you know, the PDF. Let's go to the PDF. Download. There you go. Okay, so let's scroll down and stop there. And now what I want you to do is be very specific about your dates. If you don't know what day you start, look at the website of the school you're going to. If they start September, well, you can just see what they did last year. And then you use that date. No one cares if you have a couple days off. If you don't know if it's October or September, then you should know that by now. These are the anticipated resources of funding. Now those resources for the funding do not have to be exact. They're asking for estimates. And estimates are really what your whole life is about right now. Because you are just applying. You're not guaranteed anything at this point. If you receive a Pell Grant, they have to know that. If you don't, put no. It doesn't change the facts. But if you put yes and you really don't, it does get you out of the running because they're going to check with financial aid. Realistic, let's see. Short essay, 500 words, explaining for why you're going to Japan. Same basic idea. Talk about what you're going to do when you get back to promote study abroad. Just give them a little paragraph on it. Like recommendation. That's all it is. That's a lot of money for a very simple application. Does anybody have any questions about this? We have not had anybody apply. We have not had anybody get it. They go together. Does anybody have questions about that? I can only do one more, and then we're going to need to move on. Actually, we talked about the Rotary. The JASO. Now, the JASO, I'm not the expert on. Your faculty are really good about it. And if I were you, I will ask, actually, Dr. Saito Abbott, to spend 10 minutes of your Maximizing Study Abroad and talking about the JASO. Generally, what the JASO wants to see is a very solid student, and all of your very solid students, who is going to go and be good representative, and participate. I mean, everything you think you will do there, they want to know. Now, some of the schools don't have it. Some of the schools that already give you, like Nagoya, already gives you a stipend, they often don't have yet another stipend, the JESO. And some of the schools do have it. I know Waseda has it, Tsukuba, Oberlin. Actually, most of the Tokyo schools do have it. I don't know about Okayama. Yeah, they do.
For
Oh,
JESO or for STIPend?
Okayama has their own and the JASO,
they both.
but
What do you get?
it's an either or.
You get either or, right. And that makes sense. Every time you, again, I'm just not the expert on JASO, but I'll have Dr. Saito Abbott know that I didn't tell you all about it so that she can spend some time on it. We've had great success getting students the JASO scholarship, and that's because your faculty are very, very dedicated to helping you get that. But you want to make sure you're doing everything right. What I mean by that is you're turning in things on time. You're doing your application to the school correctly. You're doing your visa application correctly. You're doing it in a timely way. And you're doing it, the other scholarships as well.
What just seems to be the biggest problem is that we haven't had any help with the applications.
You probably don't need any help. Do you?
There are lots of questions that I have about
Good.
applications.
Do you guys want to have a session just about applications?
Yeah.
Last year, I did it with the students, and I learned a lot. I couldn't do it from scratch. And the reason I said I didn't think you needed help is because I thought that was being covered. Okay. Okay, good. That's fine, though, because, you know, I think those things often are interpretation. So your interpretation, and my interpretation. Let's all get our interpretations on the table, and then you get some people who have done it before, and that's how we find out the answers. It's not a black and white. Some of the questions on there, they're not good English and they're not good Japanese. They're kind of like assumptions about what we mean. And we have a cheat sheet from last year about what we put, and they were all admitted. That doesn't mean it's right. It means that it was acceptable. So we'll do that. I'll set up a time with Dr. Saito Abbott, and probably, are you all in the Maximizing Study Abroad class?
Oh yeah, he's
Well, we'll try to find a time. Friday afternoons tend to be a good time for most people, so we'll try to figure this out. Is Friday afternoon good for you guys?
Yep.
Okay. And maybe at that time also, I'll ask her to come talk about the JASO a little bit. So we have a little bit of JASO and a little bit of the visa questions are much more difficult than the application, but there's redundancy there. So let's just get it out of the way once. That'd be great.
Wait, so every time we do US passport, do we still need to get the student visa?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
I
US
understand
passport
that.
only says you can come in the country.
Yeah.
The student visa says you can study here. Now, the student visa is not, what?
We haven't done anything with visa yet, when we do the
Application first. There's no huge rush, I mean, a couple weeks, yes, but, you know, we've started like 2 days before with people and gotten it through. So it's not the ideal way to do things by any means, but we want to make sure to get you guys as much time as possible. But know that you're going to be doing it on your own. We're not doing it for you. So do every single question you possibly can in pencil, and then we'll go from there.
So I'm not familiar really with the visa process, but I was considering going out of the state to do internships in another state. Now, is that going to affect how me getting the visa? Like, am I going to need to be in California for that?
When?
It'd be during the summer.
Oh, no.
No, not going to be wrong.
They don't track you down.
Okay.
You'll know before that. You have it now. And they don't deny the visa. I mean, they just haven't denied any visas. I'm sure they can. If you're a terrorist, don't apply. But if you're not a terrorist, they really haven't said no to anybody. Okay, I have to go do interviews. We're going to have to call it a day. I will email, actually, Dr. Saito has all of your names. Dr. Abbott has all your names. So I will send an email to her about 2 different times. You all email back to me about what time works for you. And if you're, in your case, if you're going for a month, I would actually look into the critical language program first. And if that doesn't work for you, make sure you're going for at least a month and then apply for Gilman. You're not going to get the other months.
Yeah, do the CLS one. If you get in, it's really worth it. They pretty much cover everything more.
Thank you very much. hwhite@csumb.edu. Richard, remember the camera? Thank you. So hwhite@csumb.edu. Now introduce yourself in the email to me because I will know all your names eventually. But I met you during the interviews and that was it. And some of you I didn't even get to talk. I'm kidding. Some I didn't get to talk to you as an individual. I just saw you as an applicant. And I'd much rather get to know you a little bit in person. Okay. Thank you all.